Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Chills Reviews, and today we're talking about Ant-Man. We're reviewing Ant-Man. I bring you guys a review every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I forgot to say that in the right order, but oh well, you guys know what it is. Unprofessional here. Just like this movie, no, just like Ant-Man as a character. This is a spoiler review. Spoiler. If you've never seen Ant-Man and you want to watch it someday, don't watch this. I'm just spoiling it because it's easier to talk about shit when you spoil it. This movie's about Ant-Man. Kind of an off to the side hero, I would assume. I heard this movie's going to be really funny. I've never seen any Marvel movies before. It's my first time watching Ant-Man. I've watched it twice, though, now, but it was, my first time within the last few days. Um, Kind of my first reaction to the whole Marvel series. And Ant-Man stars Scott Lang, a pretty much convict. He just got out of prison. That's how the movie starts. For doing a burglary. He's not a robber. He's a burglar. I can't say that word. He just, he steals without doing violent crimes. Um, and he stole some money from a corrupt corporation and gave it back to all the people in the world. I don't know, something nice like that. He had a moral compass, basically, and he gets out, and the side cast picks him up pretty much. Michael Pena's character, I forgot the character's name, but he plays this really fast talking, funny side character. He's kind of one of the only really funny characters to me. This movie is funny. A lot of people said it's like one of the funniest movies in Ant-Man in the MCU. But to me, it's just funny. Like, all the Marvel movies are really funny at this point. Guardians of the Galaxy is probably the funniest to me, and it's not as funny as Guardians of the Galaxy, but it is funny. Scott Lang is Ant-Man. He's the main character here. Not Ant-Man yet. This is basically Ant-Man's origin story. He has a daughter, but he's not the main dad. And he's not the main dad anymore. He's kind of playing. Well, he's not playing stepdad. There's a stepdad that has taken over, and he's also there, and he's trying to prove that he's not a convict anymore. And he's got a scene where he's working at Baskin Robbins in the beginning, and he gets fired because they find out he's a convict. Anyway, I've read some of the comics of Ant-Man, or know some of the past pretty much. Not really read some of the comics, but I know about Ant-Man from the comics. And it was originally Ant-Man was a guy named Hank Pym, and Hank Pym is in this movie. It is an older, basically retired Ant-Man. It's the original Ant-Man, and this guy needs someone to basically help him defeat a guy, his old apprentice, or not, yeah, his apprentice, a protege, a guy that he was teaching about the shrinking and just technology and shit. And he realized this guy was kind of unhinged and kind of going crazy. So he just basically he ended up getting kicked out of his own company. Hank Pym did. So this guy took over the Pym company of basically making stuff shrink. Basically, that's their goal. um, and so Hank Pym needs someone to steal the enemy's formula before they get it far enough to where they can actually shrink and create these Yellow Jacket army. So basically, the main villain's gonna be Yellow Jacket, or basically the Hank Pym's protege. Um, yeah, it's all a lot of confusing shit to me. I know. I guess it's not that confusing, but that's basically the setup you need. And then Hank Pym ends up finding Scott Lang, lets Scott Lang rob the Ant-Man suit from his house, from a really funny story way, and that's how he gets the suit, puts it on, and instantly gets small by accident. It's really weird and crazy for him, and he's in a bathtub, and it's like water, and he gets sucked up in all types of stuff. This movie has pretty cool visuals when it comes to the shrinking and getting bigger. There's some cool scenes like that. But overall, this movie had one big flaw to me. I'd like to point out, really, that it felt like the same as a flaw as the first Thor movie had. That it's just not enough really action, like not really any action at all in this movie, but not enough Ant-Man being Ant-Man. I know it's an origin story, but he's training a lot, which I like that they show him training, and also Ant-Man has the ability to control ants, like all types of ants. Kind of reminded me of a video game in which he electro ants that would electrocute enemies like software and shit, or he had ants that would bite people, or he had ants that would make bridges for him, or flying ants. He had ants for different abilities and shit like that, which reminds me of a video game where you can make about Ant-Man and all of his different ants. But basically, Ant-Man can just shrink and get small and big at a fly, like a snap of a finger. And he's also super strong when he's kind of doing this, because ants can lift 5,000 times their weight or some shit like that. And there's only 2 fighting scenes in this whole movie, and it takes an hour and a half or so to even get there. One is when they're trying to go steal something. Honestly, kind of forgot what it was. Also, Hank Pym has a daughter in this named Hope Pym, and she's kind of really good at controlling ants, and she wants to be Ant-Man, but Hank won't let her because he doesn't want to lose her, if she gets hurt in battle or dead. Kind of like the old Wasp did. The Hank Pym will tell you about his wife that put on the suit of the Wasp and went subatomic, which means you shrink endlessly, and she never came back. And they kind of set it up in such a way that Ant-Man's going to have to do that later in the film. And he literally does later in the film. Like, Ant-Man does subatomic, that thing that the woman did. But he uses these things that when you throw them, they make things shrink or get really big. And there's some funny scenes with that. But he uses one of those and puts it in the belt, and it brings him back from that area. So, like, they're basically setting it up to where they can go back and get the mother in the next movie. And I don't know. They were really talking about how it's impossible. It just seems really dumb to me that they didn't even think about that already. Or, like, they hyped it up that it was just something that there was never going to come back from, and it is. But yeah, like I said, there's Hope Pym, and there's two fighting scenes in this movie. One is the first time when Ant-Man goes to steal something, and he comes across an Avenger. Another big flaw of this movie, I really didn't love this movie that much. It's good. Every Marvel movie is good, above average. But this is one of my least favorite movies because it feels so not impactful. It ties into the Avengers movies a lot. Like, it mentions Tony Stark and Iron Man, and it even has an Avenger in it. But it's one of the least impactful Avengers. It has the Falcon. Like, Ant-Man and the Falcon fight in this pretty much for, like, a short bit. And it's a really cool scene. But the Ant-Man fucking wins. He beats up Falcon. So, like, that just shows how... I mean, he doesn't beat him up, but he beats him. And gets what he gets away with. And even Falcon's like, don't tell Cap about this. It's just hating on... They're just bashing Falcon's character down. He just has no real good character. So I liked it, but it was just, like, the least impactful thing ever. And that was the first time you see any action. And it's short-lived, in my opinion, too. So the comedy was alright. It just wasn't as good as everyone hyped. The final battle is at the end with Yellow Jacket and Ant-Man, which was, again, just alright. It was pretty cool, but it is very close to the end. And you just overall don't, like, you don't really connect with Yellow Jacket or the guy who's evil in this. You don't really see his motive. And also they talk about how he's getting crazy because he's shrinking, or he's using the shrink shit. But he never uses it till towards the end of the movie. So to me, it kind of doesn't make sense. But yeah, there's not much to really talk about in this movie besides you either just like it or you don't. To me, it just wasn't impactful. I've seen it all kind of before, and some shit was just so kind of far-fetched, and it didn't explain it enough to me at some parts. And Paul Rudd does great, though, as Ant-Man. I am excited for another Ant-Man. I know there's Ant-Man and the Wasp. I am excited for that. They hype up the Wasp at the end. They show up the Wasp suit in the after-credits scene. And, yeah, this is the end of Phase 2, and the next phase starts off with Civil War, Captain America Civil War. Super excited for that. I know that's when the Avengers break up, so that's pretty nuts. I thought they were going to, like, kind of lead into that from Ultron, Age of Ultron, or this, but no, I really don't know how they're going to do Civil War, and it's very interesting to me. I could see Tony Stark and Captain button heads. My theory is maybe it's because Tony Stark made Age of Ultron, or Ultron, that's why they butt heads. I really don't know. I hope to see Ant-Man in it, and I think he will be in it, because there's a scene at the end of Falcon. I think Falcon pretty much recruits Ant-Man, which is cool again, but just not a very impactful movie. Really no action. Some kind of espionage spy stuff, but for a kind of heist movie it tries to present itself as, not a lot of heisting, just like 2 times, maybe once really. And yeah, the training was cool, the acting was good. That's really it, actually, that I liked. So overall, final verdict for me is going to be a 6 out of 10. It's one of my lower rated MCU movies, but that's just how I feel. This one just didn't resonate with me. I wonder what movies you guys didn't like as much as everyone else kind of liked in the world. Let me know down below. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.